Davids, and my colleague is Georgina Hans. We are both trainee solicitors at TLT, and we are currently in the procurement team, supporting senior procurement lawyers advising central government and public sector suppliers with undertaking complex procurements, in addition to acting for bidders, for example, in respect of procurement challenges. In this bite-sized session, we are going to be talking you through a series of questions relating to market engagement under the new Procurement Act 2023.
Preliminary market engagement, what can it be used for? Under Section 16 of the Procurement Act 2023, the contracting authority may engage with suppliers and other persons to conduct a preliminary market engagement for the purpose of developing requirements and the procurement approach, designing a procedure, conditions, or participations or award criteria, preparing a tender notice and associated tender documents, identifying potential suppliers, identifying likely contractual terms, and building capacity amongst suppliers regarding the contract being awarded. Under the old regulations, it was possible for suppliers and authorities to talk to each other, but it is a positive shift that the new Procurement Act lays it out so explicitly and encourages conversations between the suppliers and the contracting authority early on in the procurement process. It is a misconception that suppliers and contracting authorities cannot engage or talk with each other before formally starting the procurement process. As a supplier, the preliminary market engagement process provides a fantastic opportunity to openly and transparently discuss procurement and suggest any possible solutions, help understand the requirements that will bolster your ability to write a strong response to the specification and the business case, gain a better understanding early on about how much contract could be worth and how long the contract will endure for, and explore and promote any aspects that you can deliver that would make your application unique.
So how can you get involved? Well, there is a provision in the new Procurement Act for contracting authorities to issue a preliminary market engagement notice, and this is issued in advance of the tender notice under Section 17 of the Procurement Act. So this notice is used to invite suppliers like yourselves to participate in market engagement, and it's crucial that you keep an eye out for this notice so that you can get involved in market engagement as soon as possible. It should, however, be noted that not all authorities will choose to issue a preliminary market engagement notice, so do be prepared to use other means to find out if a procurement is expected. But sometimes when they don't supply the notice, and if they choose not to publish it, the authority will then provide an explanation as to why the preliminary market engagement was not published when the tender notice is issued. So the preliminary market engagement notice will include very useful information for the supplier to consider, including information on the contracting authority, the title of the procurement, the unique identifier for the procurement, the contract subject matter, the date when the contracting authority intends the pre-market engagement, or the date when the pre-market engagement has closed, and how the contracting authority intends to engage with the pre-market engagement, including the location, date, and time of events. And this all provides a valuable insight into how the procurement is going to look. But there are a variety of other sources that will help you to identify any upcoming procurements, indicating how you can get involved. So to keep an eye out, you should really look out for pipeline notices, which will be on the central digital platform, where a contracting authority considers that it will pay more than £100 million under relevant contracts in the coming year. And it's worth making sure that you've registered your details on the website so that you can be notified of any key updates. You should also consult local authority web pages on a regular basis, and online public sector market analysis tools such as Find a Tender and Contracts Finder on the government website will be of use to you in monitoring upcoming procurements, so you know how and when to get involved. Although you should note that Find a Tender and Contracts Finder will only be of use to you if these two platforms aren't already subsumed into the central digital platform. But if or until that happens, these sources are still okay to use for now. It would also be beneficial for you to get involved through providing clear and candid feedback to the authority once you've taken a look at the details of the procurement. It's really a window of opportunity for you to have your say on the contract, but it's important to be precise in this feedback, making sure to offer alternative suggestions of what you think should be changed. It's best practice to be as constructive as possible in this case.
The format can include various types of combinations of engagement, such as face-to-face presentations, webinars, workshops, site visits, a one-to-one meeting, or simple invitation to prospective suppliers to get in touch. The details of the format of the event must be included in the preliminary market engagement notice, which may also include the purpose or other information of the preliminary market engagement. Be mindful of confidentiality. You may feel more comfortable with a one-to-one meeting or questionnaire than, let's say, a meeting where other potential suppliers could be present. With regards to commercially sensitive information, we'd recommend that you make it clear what information is commercially sensitive in writing and make sure to flag this to the contracting authority. Be mindful when acting as a consulting expert. If you're directly contracting with your authority, be careful about how involved you decide to get. You might get too involved and therefore create a conflict of interest, which could prevent you from being considered. If there's a format which you believe would be a barrier for you taking part, make sure to contact the contracting authority. We'd also want to add as well, just be careful of the context of the construction industry. There have previously been concerns about bidder rigging and corruption with regards to the early engagement process. So balance being mindful of your confidential information, but also try not to appear too secretive or obstructive.
So what are the rules around sharing commercial information? Well, during the market engagement stage, suppliers have some concerns. You may have some concerns about sharing commercial information. In particular, if the market engagement takes the form of webinars or bidder days, you may feel slightly uncomfortable sharing commercial sensitive information with the authority in quite an open setting. But it is important for you to participate fully and to share certain information that may be commercially sensitive in order that you make the most out of the market engagement and to help the authority guide the procurement. Often, contracting authorities will then set up a portal, which provides you with a channel to send messages directly to the authority or respond to the market engagement in a private capacity. Access to the portal may be provided alongside the pre-market engagement notice or in an accompanying notice, but do rest assured that there should be a medium through which you can share information with the authority that is deemed to be sensitive. You shouldn't, however, make contact with the authority outside of this portal, as it may end up being in breach of the rules that are set out in the pre-market engagement. So any communication should really be through the means provided by the authority. If you do need to disclose information to the authority that is commercially sensitive and you're concerned about sharing this, just make it clear that the information is as such, whether that's marking it in red or in bold or flagging it clearly. It's really important that you label the information as commercially sensitive so the authority is aware of that. And make sure that you do that when any verbal communication is done too. But even if you are concerned about sharing the information with the authority, suppliers should be mindful that the authority can safeguard the information that's been shared. Under Section 94 of the Procurement Act, there is no requirement for the contracting authority to publish or disclose information which is sensitive commercial information and where there is an overriding public interest in it being withheld from publication. Sensitive commercial information in this context concerns information that would be prejudicial to an individual's commercial interests if it were disclosed. This should reassure you that the authority understands that you may have reservations about sharing commercially sensitive information, but it is in the authority's interest to ensure that it remains confidential. As already discussed, though, it would be prudent for you to draw the authority's attention to that information that is confidential or sensitive. Equally, you have the Freedom of Information Act, Part 2, that sets out the same provision. Under Section 1 of that Act, anyone making a request, or anyone can make a request for information to a public authority, has the right to be told whether the public authority holds that information, and if so, it can have it communicated to them. But Section 43 exempts any information that would or would likely prejudice commercial interests of an individual, company, or other legal entity from it being disclosed. As this exemption is qualified, there is also a public interest test to that, which does set a standard quite high. But the best course of action, as mentioned before, is for you as a supplier to flag that information that is sensitive to the authority and make reference to these acts, in particular Section 94, subsections 1 and 2 of the Procurement Act, and the exemption under Section 43, subsection 2 of the Freedom of Information Act. In some circumstances, it is also possible for a non-disclosure agreement to be signed on behalf of the authority and the individual bidders to guarantee that information shared between you remains confidential. Overall, participating in the market engagement is important for suppliers, and you will likely have to share information that is deemed commercially sensitive. You should just make sure to draw the authority's attention to this information and take comfort in the fact that there are safeguards in place by the authority to protect any information that you have shared.
So what happens if you can or cannot participate? We strongly advise that you attend the preliminary market engagement session if possible. If you are attending, keep a formal record of all communications and meetings with the authority. Also consider what format it takes. As we mentioned earlier on in this presentation, there are lots of different types and formats of preliminary market engagement. This can range from emailed questionnaires, surveys, one-to-one meetings, through to more complex and collaborative supply webinars, conferences, or workshops. This might influence how you might want to respond, as certain situations will likely mean that you'll be more comfortable sharing confidential information. For instance, in a private one-to-one meeting, you may wish to be more candid with the contracting authority compared to if you're in a room full of other potential suppliers. One thing we really just want to make clear is that participating in the preliminary market engagement is a brilliant opportunity to provide candid and constructive feedback to the authority. It's also a great opportunity to network and meet other potential consortium members, especially if you're considering as an element of your bid that you might not be able to fulfill. Breaks at in-person events are a great opportunity to do this. Furthermore, it's a brilliant opportunity to learn more about the authority's current supplier. Consider what information you will need to compete with the incumbent supplier. For example, consider the staffing implications, staffing transfer, or 2P obligations as well. Additionally, it will provide a great opportunity for you to ask questions. This will help strengthen your submission. It builds a relationship with the contracting authority, but it also shows your enthusiasm and interest in the procurement and the general process. If you cannot participate, it's not the end of the world, and we have some tips for you to follow as well. Firstly, contact the contracting authority to express your interest and make sure, of course, to keep a record of all communications. Secondly, if there are any barriers for you to participate, for example, certain formats would be preferable to maintain confidentiality or the timings don't quite fit, make sure to get in contact and inform the contracting authority. Thirdly, the Procurement Act requires contracting authorities to take steps to ensure that the suppliers participating in the preliminary market engagement are not put at an unfair advantage and that the competition is not distorted under Section 16 of the Procurement Act. If you have any concerns about other suppliers being given unfair advantage over you, the first port of call is to contact the contracting authority. If this fails, you can escalate this matter to the procurement review unit. You can contact the procurement unit anonymously, but it is worth noting that they also have limited powers. Also, we'd recommend that you ask for a copy of all documents that have been published by the suppliers. And lastly, even if you cannot attend the preliminary market engagement process or any of the meetings, you can still submit a bid, even if you have not taken part. This is a myth that we're quite keen to dispel in this presentation as well. So please make sure that you submit an application, even if you've not been able to attend.
Thank you for listening to this bite-sized session today. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact myself, Georgina, or any of my esteemed colleagues in the public procurement team.
We also just want to take this opportunity to let you know about our Procuring 360 initiative, which is TLT support packages for both contracting authorities and public sector suppliers in terms of getting ready for the new Procurement Act. We are also able to offer a wide range of support, not just legal, but also technical, consultancy, and more practical support. So please do check out our website or contact a member of the team or us if you require any further support about getting ready for the implementation of the new Act. Thank you for listening.